Alright, the purpose of this tutorial is to help you set up Illustrator so you can use your Wacom tablet and brushes. So to set up for our mini alphabet project, I'm going to have you guys create a new print document, and to get as much variance as possible in that document, I'm going to have you choose tabloid. You can choose tall or wide, whatever works for you, and name the project whatever you want. Maybe you're naming it after the letter you were assigned. Once you're in there, you want to set up a couple more things before you begin. You're going to want to double click on your brush tool and deselect keep selected. That will allow you to make individual marks and they won't kind of blend together. You also want to go over to your brushes over here, your default brushes, drop down to your libraries, go to artistic, and choose calligraphic. Now you can choose any brush you'd like, but I just want you to get used to the pressure sensitivity of the stylus by working with the calligraphic brushes. And when you hover over them or choose them, you'll get the names of the brush, like round or oval or flat, which makes different marks. I'm just going to show you with like the 3-point round what variance you can get. So I select it, it pops up here into my brush palette by my couple brushes. In order to make it respond to the stylus, I double click, and this is the part that I have to change. So I'm going to drop down here and choose pressure. And it's allowing me to set the variance between the 3-point diameter. So how much, when I press lightly, how small does it get compared to how big it gets. So I want a little bit of variance. I'm going to move it up to, I'm going to go all the way to 3. So it's tiny all the way up to as big as it'll get. And click OK. Now you never really know if it's exactly right until you try. So I'm going to take my stylus and I'm going to try to make a few marks. Let me zoom in here so I can see if what I want happening is happening, which is thin lines when I don't press hard, thick lines when I do. Now obviously if you go to a different brush, let's say this flat one, I have to double click and I have to set the pressure here. It's huge, 40 points. I'm going to drop it down, add some variance. Now this brush is just different because of how it's set up. So if I go this way it's thicker and this way it's thinner. So experimenting with your brushes is super important. But do not forget, every time you select one, you have to go up to your menu, double click, and change to pressure, and change the variance so you can play with it. This one won't let me play with variance because it's only 1 point. So I kind of get what I get, but that's okay. What I would really recommend you do after that is, you don't have to, but it would make a lot of sense to type in your letter. And use that kind of like a template for the project. Find a letter form that you like. Fit to the page. If you want to stretch it, that's fine. It's your letter. You can do whatever you'd like. Create outlines so you don't have the big bounding box. And because the assignment is to render outside the letter and inside the letter, render the figure only and then render the ground only, I'm going to set it to stroke only. And I'm also going to use my layer palette over here. Let's move this out of the way. The layer palette. I'm going to lock the layer my A is on by clicking here, and I'm going to add a new layer. That way, I'm only drawing on my new layer. Whoops. And, sorry, I bumped the mouse. That way I'm only drawing on my new layer, and if I don't like it, I can always go back and delete it. So now I should be able to go ahead and draw. So what you guys do out here is totally up to you. You're going to render the ground, the negative space on one version, save it, and then you're going to render the figure, the positive space, on another version, and save it.